Hey Ray, welcome back to Potter Plays. I'm Potter. How's it going? I'm back with another follow-up video to MagicCon over in Chicago. So that being said, let's get into it. We have a couple of pros and cons to go over. It's a mix of both. We're going to start with the cons and then we'll go to the pros. For this convention, the lines to actually meet people, that was kind of a snafu. So my experience was I went to go see Josh and Jimmy. I went to a person in a yellow shirt. There was two different type of either volunteers or staff working at this event. I asked a staffing person, "Hey, where do I go to start lining up?" I was probably about an hour early. It's just how things worked out. They took me to the actual signing area. I stayed there till the allotted time. Another person in a black shirt came up and said, "Hey, you're in my spot." I'm like, "No, I'm here early as it is." "Oh, cool, you're in the second line." I'm like, "What do you mean the second line? I was told to stay here." So there was a bit of miscommunication between, I don't know if there were volunteers and staffing or just different levels of staffing. It is what it is, but hopefully for feedback wise, Magic will see this and ReedPop will see this and will say, "All right, cool, let's have walkie-talkies and stuff like that, so there's better communication." The next thing, it's a negative, or unfortunately, is at these conventions with these high-level celebrities, as you want to call them, I mean, that's what they are, when they're going to do signings, you should have multiple signings throughout the convention, as in, once a day is totally fine. I'm not saying that these people have to stay there and they have to do everything. They're human beings as well. They need rest. They need to be able to go to see the convention as well. But maybe having one on, let's say if it's a Friday through Sunday event, having one on Friday, one on Sunday, or one on Friday and one on Saturday. That way it's for those who couldn't get in the first time, have a second chance to get in later on. And they did do that for the professor, which congrats to ReedPop. That's not easy to just say, "Hey, let's work this out." However, a 2-hour window with the amount of people at this convention is probably not enough. You probably should go ahead and have at minimum a 2-hour window during Friday, and let's say after the vendor hall ends, have another dedicated spot where either in the main convention hall or somewhere else, hey, maximum of 200, 300 people, whatever, something like that. They line up, they can get signatures or picture done, whatever as well. That way, hey, other people, if they missed out earlier, they're good. Next, and this is coming from somebody who's been to another Magic convention as well, there wasn't a dedicated VIP line. I'm not saying I should put it part of the front of the line or anything, but I do feel like they're at that level, you should have a separate line. The reason being is, at a VIP level with that type of badge, if you're filtering us through first, we're done. We're no longer taking up more space in the regular queue line. That's not negative. It's just like, hey, if you had done this, I feel like a lot of people would have had, hey, I'm part of this line or this line, whatever, and we're good to go. And you would have been able to filter people more effectively. Next, yes, the main merch booth, they sold out of several things day one. ReedPop / Magic, you should know, for a bigger city like Chicago, you should bring potentially double or 1.5 times the amount of merch you're going to bring with you. I feel like that's kind of a given. At the same time, you learn every convention you do. If you hopefully do come back to Chicago, you should bring double the inventory because there's enough people that want to buy that at that convention. Feedback: the Ponder card, while it was cool to see a turtle with a bunch of hot dogs and stuff like that, $150 to me is not worth spending at a merch booth to get that card. Also, at the VIP level, that should be a card you're given. Granted, you're given 4 copies of Counterspell. It's a good card. I like the artwork, at the same time, okay, give us two different versions of something. So give us the ponder and counterspell. Not so we can just flip these, but hey, if I have 4 decks, I'm able to use whatever. Okay, so next, this goes to Ultra Pro. Unfortunately, on day one, from my understanding, they oversold their product. As in, everybody was supposed to get potentially. There's 3 different playmats. There was a Sol Ring, Dark Ritual, and I want to say it's a Merfolk playmat. I'm probably wrong. I just don't remember the name, but I know it was 3 convention specific playmats. From my understanding, it wasn't 1-to-1 like it's supposed to be. So you can get 3 playmats per one person. From my understanding, it was you could buy potentially 5 of one playmat on day one. And a lot of people were pretty angry about that. I was walking by and there wasn't a mob, but there was a lot of angry people going, yo, I just watched 4 people walk away with 5 of the Sol Ring playmat. I thought it was supposed to be 1 per one. That's not really fair. And it's not the greatest word to use here for fairness, but in a way, yeah, that's not fair on a lot of people. A lot of people are going to flip those. And yes, flipping's a thing in the community. I'm not disagreeing or saying that's a negative. It's just, well, one person's really going to profit versus, hey, somebody wanted to actually use that playmat. I thankfully, on the last day, was able to get one. It's going to be a display piece. I'm really happy with it. But I know there are other people out there that wanted one, but they just couldn't get one. So, Ultra Pro, I get, you're going to have a limited edition, 500 or whatever, but at the same time, for foiling, especially that type of foiled playmat, you may want to think about increasing the amount there is, or, and just, coming from a VIP, have an allotment sent out for VIPs. And it says VIP on there. So, hey, that goes to the VIPs and whatever else. Like, you have your regular allotment. And I'm not trying to say that VIP should get everything, but they should definitely get more perks for that, for that level of badge. Now, for those wondering, you got a bunch of, you did get some collector booster packs. We got a really cool backpack this year. It's comparatively from last year in Minneapolis to now. I want to say the Minneapolis backpack was a $10 backpack. It's a good backpack, but the new one that we got this year is leaps and bounds better in both of quantity and what it can do for like holding different things. Also, the actual tumbler they gave you with the Lotus on it, good job, good design choice. That's definitely a hit. So great job there. Another thing you could have done for VIPs was more pins. This is a pin guy. I like pins, so millions of people do. Anyways, last year in Minneapolis, we got those silver gilded lotus pins or silver black lotus pins. I want to say it's like 2.5 inches or something like that. Anyways, we got one of those, and those are great. We should have also had something similar, or maybe collab with Pinfinity on this one, because they're definitely good at making some really good magic pins. So, food for future thought there. And I know this is a bit nitpicking, but it's not meant negatively. This is all constructive feedback. The creators were always swamped. There was no way, unless they're in a different room, they're always going to be swamped, and that's kind of the hit and miss, for a convention. However, there was no real way to actually get a game with the curator, unless you knew them like personally, or like you just happened to sit down at a table and they sat down at the same time. On top of that, I saw a mental misplay in the VIP lounge, which was pretty cool. Saw Mark Warswater. Again, really cool to see these people there. It would have been cool to see other creators in that lounge as well. And I feel like they should have access to that lounge. Like, if they're there as a creator, they should have access to the VIP lounge so they can actually enjoy the convention. Yes, they're going to have a couple people come up and say, hey, can I get a picture or autograph? But it's not being as swamped in the main general area. The last thing was, as I mentioned before, the lines. I'll give a recap of what my experience was and go from there. When I went to go see Josh and Jimmy, again, I was put in kind of in the wrong area. That's fine. Things happen. Once I saw them throughout that, I was in line for about an hour and a half, roughly, maybe 2 hours, if that. It's is what it is. I asked 3 different staff members, all that had the black shirt that says staff on it. Hey, I want to go see the professor after this line. That's my day planning as it is. Can we go from this line to that line because he's scheduled next? Their answer, 3 different people, yes, we can do that. We'll take you from this line to that line. Don't worry about it. I see Josh and Jimmy. Again, all the creators did an amazing job. They were super professional, super easy to work with. Top notch. Thank you so much. Once I saw them, I said to 3 different people, same staffing members, hey, where's this line at? They pointed out probably a couple hundred yards, if that, whatever the line was at. I went there. I was told it's capped. I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, I understand it's capped. Maybe if I go up to, my thought process was I'll go up to one of the staffing members I talked to earlier. Oh, so yeah, sorry, it's capped. There's nothing we can do about it. And I was like, okay, I understand there's nothing you can do about it, but that's a bit misleading. And at that point, my convention experience started to take a really weird nosedive. Just the emotional roller coaster, it just went straight down. Mainly because, as many people out there, many Magic the Gathering people, I have a couple deck boxes from the professor that I wanted him to sign. I'm not flipping these. These are part of my personal collection, but I still like to have signatures. That's like many people out there. Anyways, I then was like, well, hey, you 3 said I can go to this other line. What can we do about this? Because this is kind of, I hate using the word unfair because life's unfair at times, but hey, you promised 3 different times I can do this. They said there's nothing we can do. All right. Frustrated. Now I was internally, I was very upset. Like, hey, y'all, you booked the most famous person in Magic. You have a 2-hour window to see him, and you just booked it. Like, what? That being said, I walked off to go play Commander, thinking, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let this negative thing wash off me. Because I know for a fact that all those other volunteers and staffing members are having the same rough day. And I saw other people raising their voice louder than me. I was like, you're kidding me, right? That's as loud as I got. Other people were not as calm. With that being said, I played Commander. About an hour later, I walked back over. The same person was like, hey, this line is now an overfill line. At 4 p.m., we're just going to cut it off. If you see the professor, great. If you don't, it is what it is. Me and my brother-in-law popped in line. We saw him day one. So my convention experience from that pitfall had started to recline after that. I still had an amazing time no matter what. But still, I was a bit like, wow, that's kind of rough. Also, I want to say they're a manager because the way they were more commanding or more organized, they took more charge of the area. They were stating, hey, at 4 o'clock, we're cutting this off. If you don't get a signature or photo, at least you tried. And it's like, okay, I'm going to take that and just walk like, whew, I'm not letting that affect me because that's going to make some other people really angry. With that being said, I still got my signature and photo day one. A lot of people were frustrated afterwards. Then ReedPop, I want to say an hour later, sent out an update through the app, which used the app. A lot of things were sold out, but you could buy them through the app beforehand. They added another viewing, or not viewing, I shouldn't say viewing, another meet and greet and signature with the professor the following day, which good in ReedPop because that made a lot of people feel better because they missed out their first time. With that being said, I missed out seeing Rachel because the line was just, I didn't want to sacrifice more time waiting for a potential, hey, we're already capped. So, with that being said, ReedPop, you really got to work in your lines and potentially put a VIP line for that. That's the chunk of the negative. Like, hey, this is feedback, but please understand it's feedback. I'm not trying to make people feel bad because you all did an amazing job. This convention was well worth it. I really enjoyed it. I saw old friends. I made new friends. I played a ton of Commander. I got some really cool merch. and I'm very happy with my experience. One of those experiences was being front row for Game Nights Live, and there's a quick little slideshow here. That's my brother-in-law to the right. Yeah, they did an amazing job. So everybody from the command zone, the professor, the actual staff, everybody else working this entire area, y'all did an amazing job. So thank you for putting on a great show. Thank you for the audience interaction. From Minneapolis to here, the audience interaction was 10 times more. You brought more people on stage. You did the dice of consequences multiple times. Yeah, it was a great experience. Also, being front row, I didn't know that was going to happen. It just happened that way. And then there's a picture where a command zone, they took a picture of the front row, and I was in it. So that was pretty cool. Anyways, command zone, again, staffing, everybody, thank you again for putting on a great show. I know that's not easy to do. I know it takes a lot of planning. So again, thank you. Also, Secret Lair alert. That was such a great little gimmick in that show. I would say if it's possible for an addition to have some in that little picture real quick, that's a 4949 Voja Wolf. Anyways, so going forward, I would say maybe have 2 rounds of your trivia. So that would give you 8 different people playing trivia, but also 8 different people getting getting magic boxes and whatnot. Or even if it's not a full box, it's something else. It's just something else they get to do that's part of crowd interaction. So these were the next. We're going to go into the actual pros of MagicCon. The backpack, the pin trading, or what was it? There was also some cards that letting you trade as well. That was huge. I love pin trading in general, so that was a great thing to get to do. The staff, they were great. They understood why we were there. Minneapolis, they kind of got it. They knew why we were there, but it was more subdued. Here, like, all right, cool. We're gonna line you up at. I think they started lining us around 8:30, 8:45, somewhere around there, and then walked us from there to the early entrance for 9 o'clock. They did a great job every single day for that. So thank you. Y'all did a great job there. There were plenty of Commander games to play. From Minneapolis to here, there was enough room. Yes, it was a little tight still because it's a lot of people, but you could play Commander almost anywhere in that entire venue, minus the actual artist alley, because you're not supposed to sit in the middle of the floor. But yeah, everywhere else it was great. The free play tables, as I'm now remembering from what historian said, there were a couple of circular tables. Those were learn to play Magic / free play area. So yes, they were circular, but they were there for a specific purpose. They weren't just for Commander. On top of that, the food venues, while it was just pizza, hot dogs, some burgers, pulled pork sandwiches, and some type of chicken thing. I can't remember exactly what, tenders or something like that. Anyways, those were all easy to get to for basically your breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you wanted to do it that way. But they did a really good job. So they're on the inside. When you walk in, the middle half of the convention center, we had Connie's Pizza was one of them, and the other hot dog place, I just can't remember their name. But they did a really good job making sure there was enough food venues for people to get to. Plus, all the hotels connected to it, they had food venues there as well. So they did a really good job making sure you can actually get to something if you're hungry. Game nights, as I said, they had a ton more of actual audience participation, which great. I know that's not easy to do, but still, y'all did a great job. The backpack this year, as I stated earlier, is a lot better. It holds more / it's more organizable. I was able to put everything. I was able to put everything I wanted in there into that backpack and walk around all day, and it never felt over. I never felt over encumbered, overbearing, or burdened carrying this thing. So, next, the actual content creator corner. I was able to meet several creators that way. I did not see Josh, Jimmy, or the professor in the area. I saw Voxy, Mental Misplay, One More Mana. Shout out to them because they're amazing. No, every content creator is amazing. So I saw them, Mana Curves, and the podcast editor for game nights. So a lot of people were in that area throughout the 3 days they were there. It was great. However, I felt that it was too small of an area, as in there. I wish there was a bigger space for a content creator area. That way, hey, if you want to get a game in, you can. There's enough tables, things like that. Yes, there were a lot of people playing Magic, and yes, you could get a game with a creator. I got a couple games in. It was great. However, there were areas where it was a bit tight for room. However, that's what Magic is. You have people bring in 15 different deck boxes or quivers or whatever. Like, you're going to run out of space at some point. However, considering from Minneapolis to here, I feel that this venue, it was bigger. There was a lot more going on, but Magic / ReedPop did what they could to actually, hey, let's make sure that people are happy here. One more, I guess it's a bit of a request, fourth or whatever. At these panels that they did, I would have either content creators or whoever that are up there throw out some packs or a couple pins or something like that at the end of those panels. Mainly just like, hey, thanks for showing up. Thanks for taking time away from X thing and being here instead. Like Fallout, I loved watching it, and then once Fallout ended, I grabbed the seat in the front for game nights. Like, that's how that worked. But yeah, besides that, the entire venue, I really enjoyed it. I really do hope they come back to Chicago or within another city that's within a drivable distance. So with that being said, thank you for stopping by. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment below your experiences. What was your favorite memory? Who did you get to meet? Who did you wish you could have gotten to meet? What, did you buy anything neat? Did you sell anything? Things like that. So with that being said, have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye.